Boom! Texas Longhorns grab Jamarion Carlton, defensive lineman, 6'5", 270 pounds, out of Temple, Texas. Carlton was committed to Baylor for the last, 6 months, Jerry, since the summer. But after a couple of unofficial visits to the Longhorns in the last month, Carlton has flipped this commitment from Baylor to Texas. Another big defensive lineman, as Steve Sarkisian and his staff, Kenny Baker, those guys, Lyle and Clark, go after big linemen on the defensive side of the ball. He joins a group of guys that are really impressive. What do you think about Jamarion Carlton, young man out of Temple, Jerry?
He's had an interesting progression physically as a player. You know, he's a guy that has about an 84-inch wingspan, very long arms, right? He was about 210 pounds as a freshman. And he is around 270, as you said, now as a senior. And I don't think he's done. I think one of the interesting things about this commitment is he actually going to end up being more of an interior player and more of a 5 long term? I mean, he's gained 60 pounds in the last 3.5 years, right? And when you look at his frame, you could see him getting to 300 pounds pretty easily, 290, 300 pounds. So while he's listed as an edge/D lineman, I think he's really physically moving towards defensive line. But the guy that's been very productive for the Temple Wildcats the last 3 years of high school football, plays basketball, still remains playing basketball as well. But a guy whose upside, I think, is going to be closer to the ball as that frame fills out.
Yeah, just some stats for him, Jerry, as we look at it. 68 tackles on his senior season, 21 QB hurries, 5 sacks. You saw him bat a ball earlier in this game. He actually had 6 batted balls this season, 12 tackles for loss. And you mentioned he played basketball. Last week, Jerry, his first basketball game of the year, 20 points, 17 rebounds. Quite the mix of athleticism and just raw size. He almost looks a little like Lance Jackson. He's that 5/3 technique where you just don't know where his body is going to go. But interestingly, Texas historically and Steve Sarkisian historically have hung around the rim on a few players, right, Jerry, that commit elsewhere during the season or preseason. Well, Carlton is one of those players this year. And, of course, Baylor has not had a great football season. They gave the vote of confidence, we're going to keep our coach. Wow, that looked like that hurt. They gave that vote of confidence and, he's going to get another year. Well, that's not really what you want to hear as a true freshman coming in. I may only have my coach and my coaching staff for 1 year. Carlton, though, big-time player, and he is now committed to the Longhorns, joining a host of other defensive line. Really impressive defensive line group overall, Jerry. But another Central Texas kid as well. He joins Jet Walker, the running back out of Georgetown that just committed, as well as Yaheem Riley, those guys too. So a good pickup here for the Longhorns. Anything in particular that you can see him being used as? You mentioned maybe moving to a 5 or a 3 technique over time, just depending on where his body goes.
Yeah, that's kind of where I see him because he's not an explosive player off the edge, right? And as he's grown, he's gotten bigger and that frame's filled out. I think he's a good athlete, but not that edge, explosive, sudden, quick athlete at the edge position. So I do see him more as a 5 tech. And I could even see him, and obviously we'll see, scheme changes, packages change. But if you look at Texas as is now, you could see him being one of those NASCAR guys on the interior too as he grows up. Because I'd be very surprised if this guy doesn't weigh 290 pounds in time. I'll just be very surprised because he's got those long levers and he's already 270 now, and that'll be not that he looks bad, but that'll be a reshaped 270. Then add weight to that. So I'll be very surprised if he's not a 290-pound player. And the question is, Bobby, can you get him to 300 pounds? Could he almost be a 5'3" as his career goes on? That's the question for me, because there's been a lot of guys like him that were 265, 275 pounds their senior year, and they end up being a 5/3 and playing some 3 at 300 pounds, 305 pounds. So that's what's going to be interesting. He's an intriguing prospect because you don't really know where it's going to end for him positionally or frame-wise.
Yeah, he doesn't know. I mean, that's one of the. But what you do see is you see some active hands. You see a guy that has a good motor. and gets after it. And he comes from a really good program, a long history of producing not only top talent, but guys that end up making it long-term in the league as well. Good pickup here for the Longhorns. No question about it, in my opinion. Other thoughts, Jerry, as we look towards the end of the recruiting season for the Longhorns, recruiting here just days away almost. What are your thoughts overall on the Longhorns and what they're doing in recruiting right now?
Yeah, so I think, look, we're in such a different era with rev share, and how do you deal with rev share and then the NIL on top of the rev share? So it's interesting to see how this class could go as many as 28, 29 players potentially. Probably more like 27, 28, but we'll see how the dominoes fall. But like a guy like Carlton's a big, long-arm guy that fits the SEC. I like that. Look, he picked Baylor over Texas, the Texas A&M and Texas Tech originally. There was a lot of people that thought he might go to Tech, but A&M and Texas are both on him for a long time. He fits that SEC mold. I do like what Texas is doing defensively in this class for sure, with guys that have that upside, that have that length to them at multiple positions. We'll see where it all ends on December 3rd for Texas, December 4th in that area. But I like what they're doing defensively, getting guys who are going to fit the SEC. Then it's their job to develop them. I think because of this rev share and where things are at in recruiting, player development at the high school level has never been more important than it's going to be in the future years. Because I think the talent's going to be spread out more. So I think you're going to have to be a great, great developmental program. And that's going to be the challenge for all these staffs is how high of a rate do you develop at? Because you're taking some guys in all these classes that are going to be real developmental players. You're going more for that height and length, and then you're going to have to develop those guys' frames. You have to develop those guys as players. But Jamarion Carlton has a lot to develop. I'll say that. And he's a productive player at the high school level, but his best football should be way out in front of him.
I think you hit it right, Jerry. I mean, I think that when we look at this and look at what Jamarion Carlton is bringing, he's an SEC type guy where he's strong at the point of attack, but still has enough athleticism to go make plays inside or outside. I like him a lot. And I think that this is the kind of guy you want to see play for you because it's the kind of guys that Georgia gets, and just comes at you in droves at them. So good pickup here for the Longhorns, big time one, actually, in my opinion. The more you see of him, this is senior footage, by the way, that we're watching that our producer Matt has picked up for us. Just tremendous overall punch, I think. And then he's got some athleticism. He sees the ball and gets down the line of scrimmage. All right, look, big time pickups. We got more coming in recruiting right now. Longhorns and Brandon Harris, the general manager for Texas, as well as Steve Sarkisian, all the assistants, Chris Gilbert. Those guys, John Michael Jones, they've all got stuff that they're working right now in recruiting. We will have that covered for you either here on the YouTube channel or at ontexasfootball.com. Make sure you check us out. Annual subscription right now, $39.95 if you use the promo code OTFOG for first-time members. That's promo code OTFOG at ontexasfootball.com. All right, one last thing for you, Jamarion Carlton. For me, that's hook 'em horns, buddy. Congratulations. You're the next Texas Longhorn.